Dune. It opens with some throat singing, so I'm guessing they know exactly what we wanted. Battling opening sequence scenes where people dying, blood, slaughter. It reminds me of Lord of the Rings. It's got some narration going, so I'm like, that's minus 5 points right there. Okay, then we get introduced to Polywog and Lord Wog. I don't know why I say that. I actually really like Isaac's in this he does a very good job in my opinion. He's freaking spot on. It's actually super dumb how he dies. I was kind of bummed with that. Dart to the back, bro. Gosh, jeez. Secret assassins coming at you assassin style. It's no fun. Timmy Bob does his best. I don't like his character at all. Not even a little bit. Not even remotely. Not even slightly at all. Mommy Dearest, she's actually pretty good. I like her. Her character is cool. The dual loyalties between her family and like the Ben and Jerry's, it's pretty sweet, it's pretty cool. The actress is pretty much top tier as far as I can tell. She does spot on every single time, it's wonderful. But I would like to see a bit more of that. I would like to see a little bit more of that. Like the forcing decisions between her like club and cub type stuff. I think that'd be a little bit more interesting. Okay, the Wogs get ordered to Arrakis. Boom! First bone to pick my... So the Emperor's plan. Okay, so the Emperor's plan. It's 100% bullshit. Okay, so his plan reads like this. I don't know how how it all gets explained in the book. I haven't read the book yet. But this is... so this is how I basically saw it break down. Okay, so 1, disrupt crucial spice economy by displacing experienced spice producers. 2, force enemies to move to crucial spice planet. 3, kill enemies, blame it on experienced producers. 4, reinstate experienced spice producers. And 5, repair crucial spice economy. I don't know about y'all, but it seems to me that there's a few extra steps in there. That there's just 1 or 2 of these little things that could be removed from this plan. I mean, I'm no economist. I don't know how it all works. If I was in charge of the economy, we'd probably see skyrocketing prices across all types of stuff because I don't know what I'm doing. This whole plan to me just seems absolutely meh. Like, why not hire assassins, a bunch of them, or simply attack Wog on home world with Harkonnen abilities, you know? Wouldn't Spy Doctor Guy's betrayal be just as betrayed as it would on Arrakis as it was on Wog homeworld? I think so. I think it would be. So why not just kill him there? Why disrupt this global I mean, dude, it's like if the U.S. was like, we gotta kill Osama, we gotta get that boat, and we gotta get that Bin Laden feller. And so we're like, okay, let's come up with a plan. We're gonna come up with some ideas. We're gonna be spitballing some, methods in which to kill this, take out this homie. In order to get him, the U.S. is like, all right, we gotta kill this dude, but very first plan is we gotta put him in control of all oil refineries across the world. All the oil production will flow through him. And it's like everybody in the audience, all the SEAL Team 6 in the audience is just like, no. I mean, I don't pretend to know what SEAL Team 6 is out there doing or thinking or any of that crap. But I'm pretty sure they'd be like, how about we don't place our adversaries in charge of, one of our most valuable imports, the thing that runs the world, because if there's no gasoline, you ain't getting to work, things ain't getting shipped across, boats ain't coming, planes ain't flying, like, fuel goes down, you know what I mean? So it's like, what's going on here? So I don't even know why you'd set it up like that. I don't even know why this is a plan that you'd even want to go with. And it's like, I know, read the book. I will, yeah. Okay, so our main character gets to Arrakis. The director guy orders Timothée Chalamet to hug this dude really awkwardly, and Timothée Chalamet's like, Are you sure, director guy? Are you sure you want me to hug this person? Like, just super awkward? And the director guy is just like, make it so awkward. Hug him so awkwardly. The more awkward, the better, Shalaman. You know, because, like, why, dude? Like, this entire hug, like, I get why Momoa, right? But still, that's another awkward hug. But I get Momoa's relationship there. He's his bro. He's his bro. He's his other older brother figure. Bro. And then I get, like, Brolin's involvement in the whole thing. Because, you know, a mentor, a teacher figure, like, okay, cool. But who's White Eye's math guy? Like, I don't understand the connection there, but all of a sudden it comes out of nowhere like, oh, Pollywog, have missed you, Mr. Commander White Eye, so very much. Give us an awkward hug. And the director just gets off on it, apparently. I'm very aroused. Palm trees are sacred, and they burn unsacred ceremoniously, and it's an utter waste of screen time. Like, why? Like, what? The trees are, like, okay, cool, I'm sure. Book. Our Lord Isaacs decides that he wants to see some spice fieldings, and it's like, and the lady's like, all right, we're gonna go see some spice fields, and we'll show you what the spice fielding's all about. The mines, the fields, the crop, however you freaking spice this, dude. And this introduced us to bone to pick number 2, dude. Bones to pick. I have lots of bones to pick with this movie. We're gonna get through a lot. The spice collector tank, right? Worms. Okay, so let's set you up on an average day in the spice mining community. Okay, so like you get on board your spice tank. Okay, then the fly ship comes over, picks up your spice tank, drives you to the spice fields, puts down your tank, and then flies away off into the nethers. And then the spice tanks guys are like, okay, start mining. Worm, cough it out, help. Okay, they're on their way. 5 minutes out, the worm's gonna be here in 5 minutes. Oh, it's this entire process that's like is super anxious ridden. And so like ideally if everything goes to plan, then the spice tank picker upper machine comes and picks up the tank, and then Worm comes in the ground and he's like, oh darn, just missed him. And so like, okay, all right, how long does the worm hang around? How does he like? Is there like, oh, we've got like 5 minutes, and then this bad boy's gonna, or is it more? Or do you just go find a new spice field, and then so the worms are just constantly like, they disappeared from this area. Yeah, they're over here, and then they go over there, and then they search that area, or like, I don't understand. Wouldn't it make much more sense, right? To have your spice machine fly? And then instead of the whole machine having to sit on the ground, you just have this you just have this vacuum hose that comes down. And then when you see, worm detected, and then you just pull that up. We have giant flying machines in this world. It's like, why are we doing groundwork? This makes no sense. This is like playing street hockey on a busy highway or something, right? So like you pull your net out into the middle of the road, and then you get all ready, and then okay, pull the net out of the road. Car go, okay, put it back. No, there's another car. Oh crap, take it out of the road. Okay, wait. No, they're still coming. They're still crossing. Wait. Okay, there's a car. Put it down the road. Okay, shit, another car coming. You don't get any playing done. You're just moving the net back and forth. You're just moving tanks around. I mean, I don't know anything about economy, and I'm right.
Books, read the books, you dilapidated monkey. Like, I will, but...
If I only had a brain. Okay, super duper inefficient, and this like solidifies the Emperor's plan is stupid as well, because when the Harkonnen leaves, when Batista leaves, they sabotage the mining equipment, right? And so now your mining equipment's all sabotaged, which therefore makes your spice trade even more in the negative, in the red, And so that makes your economy suffer more and makes your people hate you more. And so it's like, how is this a good plan to kill off your enemies? And it's like, I don't understand why the Emperor chose this route. I mean, right, books. Okay, fuck, moving on. Okay, then Dr. Guy betrays our liege Lord Isaacs, and there's some hand-to-hand combat, and I don't understand this hand-to-hand combat in this world, because there's clearly a point where the dudes march out to war, and they're like, oh, hand-to-hand combat, swords! But then there's clearly a scene where Batista's ships are just bombing the crap out of them, so like, it's more like, sir, the enemy is running beneath our ships. What? That's rather stupid of them, isn't it? It's rather dumb. Well, do we have the bombs loaded? Oh, yes, sir, we've got the bombs loaded. Well, drop them. Drop them. What's on the menu for lunch? Does anybody... You know what I mean? This is space warfare. Like, I don't get why there's this hand-to-hand combat part. I mean, sure, hand-to-hand combat to take over a space. Dudes flying in from the sides and sticking to the space and then mounting through a drill and then, all right, hand-to-hand combat time. But this, like... Hey, we're trying to do something. It's not fetch time. You puppy! You're interfering with the show, puppy! People are gonna be like, well, she a mid-explanation, don't you pair? Okay, we're good. What was I? I was on a rant, I know, I was mid-rant. I was doing a good rant. I was doing alright. Well, yeah, I just don't understand why spatial warfare would, like, have this type of nonsense going on.
I know, right? Read the book, you dilapidated squirrel. I will, eventually. Eventually.
So Tim and Mommy Dearest get kidnapped, right? Oh, no, I skipped the part. Oh, yeah, the doctor guy betrays people, Lord Isaacs. Isaacs gets betrayed. Gets killed. Dart to the back. I'd love to see a little bit of a fight with him. Just a smidge, just a little bit of a, whatever. And so then, you're gonna, okay. And then, yeah, so he does that, and then he pulls the ring off the finger, and then he hides that, and the doctor spy guy hides that in the plane, and it's like, well, how did he know what plane the Batista henchmen were going to put Tim and Mommy Dearest in? He didn't know that, but it was like, but Tim and Mommy Dearest just happened to be in a plane in the next shot. It's like, oh, crap's going down, war's erupting, and Tim and Mommy Dearest are just like, oh, we've been kidnapped. It's like, I would have liked to see a taken from the bed scene or something like that. Like, we put it together that when Momoa walks in and we get that scene where he's like looking at the empty bed, so we kind of get it there. I love Momoa. But like, I would have loved to see it actually how it progressed, because like, she can talk, dude. Like, she can talk, cause somebody comes in, oh crap, get out. Like, oh, that dude looked like a Batista henchman. I better go see what's, you know what I mean? When you can talk, and so how did she get kidnapped? I want to know how. I'm okay with her getting kidnapped, but they should just like sneak up on her, cover her mouth, or something. I don't know. It seemed like an odd way to have one of your characters who can control people by talking just end up in a kidnapped situation. Anyway, the plane takes them out over nowhere, dumps them in the middle of the desert, to be gone with it. I don't know what this is all about. Like, the henchman in the plane is even like, let's kill them, or they argue about just following orders or turning them in or something like that. And it's like, okay, so your boss orders you to take these people out to the middle of nowhere. It's like, well, take them like 10 minutes away. This is Arrakis. Take them 10 minutes away, put a bolt in each of their legs, kick them out the thing. Like, why do we have this? So this brings me to another one of my absolute pet peeves, okay? And that comes to when Hollywood don't evil correctly. When evil don't evil, right? Because, let's face it, in almost every single, when you have a supervillain type of character, a main antagonist, somebody who is literally trying to disrupt your MC in every way, shape, and form, the majority of the time in these videos, this bad guy is turned down, right? The character, our hero, our MC is turned up to 11, but the bad guys are turned down. And so you don't really get this sense of real battle between two characters in a realistic setting, as it were. So when the writers decide to make these decisions with their script, what they're deciding to do is they're deciding to avoid realism. And I'm not talking realism as in like, you know, wizards and wizards can't exist or anything like that. No, I'm talking as in like, if I run a mile, okay, I'm going to be winded. I'm going to be winded and I'm not going to just get done running that mile and then just be like, no, I'm going to be, oh shit, no, I had it. Just a minute, just a fucking minute. That's what I'm going to be doing at the end of this mile. And so and this is a perfect way to, with these realistic events that come about in any world, in every story, when we come about these realistic events, they can turn into our story. And that's what I'm of the mind of. So when you come across these realistic things, it's a perfect storytelling device, right? Because with this realism, you can come into a conflict between characters, right? So you can bring this... If we don't leave the city by midnight, the enemy is going to come and kill us. Well, should we stay or should we fight? Well, we have enough food to last for a while, but if we leave, then we don't have to deal with this conflict anymore. You see what I mean? So we know that this obstacle, this realism, this evil person is coming to kill us. And if we stay put, we can either defend them off for a period of time or eventually die, or we can try to run and outrun this army, right? And so both decisions depend on those realistic situations. It's like, well, do they have horses? It's like, do they have this? Do they have that? And as your characters suss through this situation, suss through these obstacles, right? Because now you have your main obstacle that comes down to your other obstacle, and your other obstacle is, what do we do? And when we come down to that choice, right, then revolves around smaller obstacles. Well, if we stay, how long can we last? What do they have that they could break down our door? Do they have a punching through? Do they have ground? You know, like what does our enemy have? What do we have? Do we possess the capabilities of running? Are we surrounded by the soldiers already? Are they on the horizon? Are they coming in? And that now's our window of escape. So you can pretty much learn so much about your characters through this hierarchy of obstacles, this hierarchy of realism that they have to flow through. Yes, there's the fantasy wizard, and there's the fantasy elf, and there's the dark lord and whatnot. But where did I put the story at? I put the story at how they solve the problem and what they need to do when this dark lord comes, which is where your story is at. And this gives us conflict, this gives us obstacles, and because of the conflict and obstacles, this gives us character definition. How do we solve these problems? How does a character solve these problems? Is it Gordian's knot, where every general comes up, where every general and scholar from the age comes up and just stares at it and is just like, well, fine, I don't know how to pull this trigger? Or is it Alexander just freaking just pulling out his I completely forgot, gladius, and just freaking cutting it in half? You know what I mean? That tells you so much about each of those characters. Odysseus would have came up and he'd have studied it. He'd have looked at it and he'd have gone, let me try to this and that. When Alexander just came up and cut it in half. You see, this tells us about our characters. And when we ignore these small little important things, right? Let's say a character's hungry. If a character's hungry, there's an obstacle of realism in it. How do they solve this problem? Do they run up and tip over a cart and steal something in the chaos? Do they walk up and do they casually just start chatting up the purveyor, the stand operator person? And do they just lean over and casually just snag one without them knowing? Do they do they see a man buying a bunch of fruit and stuff and then follow that man to where he's alone and then steal it from him? This tells us so much about our character based off one little element of realism, hunger, and how he solves that problem. And how they solve problems is what makes us invested in the character or not. And so this is one of my biggest just annoyances when it comes to Hollywood these days is one, I know this kind of took a left turn as my explanation, but it's essentially on the same line. Evil don't evil. Characters don't make choices that to deal with these obstacles, and instead, the obstacles are circumvented by glory or divine hand or pure coincidence. And this is what, just kind of grinds my gears about it all. But this is just my opinion. Of course, I'm pretty sure it's 100% wrong. So moving on. So Mommy Dearest and Tommy Boy move out or get kidnapped, and then they destroy their captors. Momoa survives by yelling, which is the only yelling that I permit in the movie. I sanction in the movie because I just love Momoa. And how badass is that? He just comes out and he's like, get away! Get away! It's like, yeah, okay, Momoa, damn, dude, alright, calm down, jeez. You want the thing? You can have the thing, just stop. I freaking love Jason Momoa. He's absolutely hilarious. I don't know if that Johnny Depp court scene thing is real with him in it, but that was funny too. I love Johnny Depp too. I loved him all throughout the trial. I loved him even when they're like, yeah, he beat up on Amber. I was like, fuck no, he didn't. That's my boy Gianni. Johnny don't need to do that. And then they get to the desert and they get saved by these free men. And Tim has to kill a guy because he was all up in his grill. Mommy Dearest doesn't have to kill Bardem then, though. So, alright. And this is my bone to pick number 3. Number 3 bone to pick. Okay? So, the Freeman Society is a pretty advanced society. They make laser cannons. They've got these complex structures cut out and carved into the rock. They've got these suits that recycle your shit, and so sweatsuits and stuff. I don't think they recycle your shit. I more meant that as a general descriptor of all the bodily fluids that you leave, bodily fluids that you use, excrete, not just necessarily fecal matter. They're an old civilization that has spanned thousands of years. Why do they still fight to the death? Why do they still do this, dude? Why do they still do? Because, at best, dude, you lose a dude, right? You lose a good fighter. You lose a homie. At worst, you lose 2 homies. And it's a lose-lose situation. Okay, that's the end of Dune 1. Dune 1, Dune. Goddamn sand missile hit me in the eye. The movie Dune is in my chocolatey drink. I miss Dane Cook. Where did he go? What happened to him? I'm not gonna look it up.
I miss you so. Seems like it's been forever since you've been gone.
Okay, this brings me to Dune 2. Be fighting Harkonnens and all that. Great stuff. Bone to pick number 4. How do they locate people on this planet, right? Okay, so homie's literally like the south of the planet's completely uninhabited. So obviously whatever technology they possessed at that time couldn't detect homies. But I know they have infrared. They have to have infrared because it's an advanced civilization. How the fuck do you not have infrared? And so they have infrared, and I get all the infrared doesn't work because the desert's so hot. I'm just like, well, wouldn't it still work? Yeah, but instead of looking for the hot spots, you'd just be looking for the colder spots? And couldn't you apply that from spaceship? And be like, golly gee whiz. Seems like we've got a couple of cold spots right here next to the surface. Or maybe that's just not how it works. I don't know. But then they've got something because then the Emperor shows up. Hey, you need to just, go south. And then you can get some south people. They're there. Come on, what are you doing? And so we know that people can detect it, and then he kills that one guy. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, so they can detect people, but they don't. I don't know. Okay, so can they or can't they? And if they can, like, why didn't they detect them before? What was the reason? Like, were they getting jammed by the Fremen prayer chants or something? I don't know. Okay, so Timmy does some stuff. Bardem says, as it is written, and this leads us into bone to pick number 5.
Number 6, the 6th bone to pick with this money left.
With this movie, and this one's actually, I have a big bone. This one's a big one, okay? So this one's all about the prophecy and whatnot. The prophecy is just asinine, dude. Okay, so, like, first of all, first and foremost, how the prophecies work in this movie is like good old Tommy Boy will do something, and then Bardem will be like, oh, it was written on our scrolls, you can see, as it was written, ha-cha-cha, and that's how it works. Every single time there's like a divine prophecy or something that Timmy Boy does anything special, that's literally hard. That's practically Javier Bardem's like only line is as it was written. So anyway, this would have played so much freaking better if when Javier Bardem and Chalamet first metted, somebody whispered, "Oh, you're the Alab Galib or whatever." You know what I mean. You're that character, and then Javier Bardem should have turned to Tom or Timmy and should have been like, look, listen here, Timbo. No, you ain't. You ain't a special guy because our Alab Aglib, he did this, and he did one of these, and he did a few of those, and he did this thing over here, and he did that as well. Have you done any of that, Tim? Chalamet, stay in your lane, Braham. You ain't done nothing special yet. And so that we have that interaction between Javier Bardem and Timothy, and then throughout the movie, as the story unfolds, these things happen. And then we get to see, not only do we get to see Javier Bardem's reaction being like, oh my goodness, as it is written, but we, as the audience, also get to be a little bit wonderstruck as well, because then he does the thing, and then we can all be like, oh my goodness, he did the thing that Javier Bardem said he wasn't the guy because he didn't do that, but then he did do that, and so like, oh my gosh, it's all coming together. And so that's how they should have put it. That's how they should have structured it. But every time Timothy does something important, yeah, Bardem just goes, oh, as it is written, as it is foretold, I have foretold. And also at the same time, like, what exactly is foretold? Because the sandworm, because when Timothy goes to ride the sandworm, it come busting over the Dunes Valley, and Bardem's like, no, not one that big. It's like, okay, so like, according to you, so right just now, your previous knowledge of how big wormulons get has been completely befuddled, right? So this time you're witnessing this at firsthand happening, and you're just being like, wow, that sucker is huge. Okay? It's like, how so this is the first time you've seen one this big, which is in the prophecy, I'm guessing, which is because it's not important that he can just ride the worm, because it's got to be the biggest worm, because that's the whole point of the prophecy, right? And so, well, how does he know that that's the biggest worm? It's like, can you tell, like, exactly how long is that guy? Can you tell from the plume of dunage, of sand dune coming? No, you can't. What about width? Is that guy a super fat dude? How can you tell? And it's like, so how do you know that this is the absolute biggest one you ever seen? Because, I'd imagine 100 feet is a pretty big distance when measuring an animal of this magnitude, right? And so there's got to be a difference between the one 90 feet and the one 190 feet long, or I suppose they're all pretty long, so it'd be more like 450 feet long versus 650 feet long or whatever. 450 numbers. And so like, what is this worm size scale and how is it measured? And it's like, do they track the worms? Are the worms being tracked throughout this? And it's like, do they know? Like, read the book. Read the book, you pineapple-headed frog. Okay, and And then it comes, so yeah, and then, so that I have serious beef with the prophecy is, yeah, and then the third part of the prophecy is like, the La Galib guy, his mom will be a reverend mother, right, which is a holy woman on this planet or something like that, and so, Javier Bardem basically threatens Mommy Dearest to become Ultra Mom, and so, like, is that really, like, the prophecy coming to fruition? You know what I mean? Like, is that really it's like in the Old Testament, if the Rain of Frogs turned out to be Farmer Bob, who just happened to raise a bunch of frogs and then launched them over the city wall with a catapult. It's like, all right, is this really divine? The hand of the divine? Is this really the prophecy fulfilled? Or is it, we should probably pay closer attention to what Farmer Bob gets up to, and we need to hire somebody to clean up all these dead frogs? You know what I mean? Like, well, yeah, never mind. Praise Kurt. Okay, and then the next point to be made on this prophecy crap is the Ben and the Ben and Gesserit, they put the prophecy in play. So then it's like, Tim and Mommy Dearest are just running through a checklist, basically. We gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this, but once again, we don't know what was written, so, but at the same time, the blue worm juice is
some real shit.
That's some real worm shit right there. And so, with some real worm powers, and so it's real, but it's, and so it's like, I don't know what to do with this. It's like, is this all fake? Or has within the schemes of witches a true messiah come, you know? I feel like I've missed something, and I know, right?
Read the book. If you don't read the book, you're not going to know what happened. And okay, alright.
Just moving along. Okay, so then they fight some spice collectors. The spice picker-upper tanks, and these tanks can't fly either, so the Harkonnens are doing no better. And this is where I get to pick number 6. Why do we need to kill the dragonfly in order to laser cannon the spice tank? Okay, I'll admit, this is a totally fitchin' scene here, dude, where Chalamet and Zendaya are going around and trying to rocket this thing to death, and Chalamet's got a protector and then load the thing, and it's a really cool sequence. It's a really cool scene. The sun, everything, it just looks, the way they do it, the way they hide in the sand, it's really cool. It's a really cool scene. Why do we need it to happen, though? Because as we see after they defeat the thing, the dragonfly, that they just laser cannon the tank. And that takes like 2 seconds. So why couldn't we have bit-bopped up out of the sand, laser cannon the tank, bit-bop back down in the sand with a sand coverer, and then when the dragonfly come a flying, they don't crawl. And when the dragonfly come a flying, then we have all our dudes lined up in the sand. So that way when the dragonfly shows up, they just bop out, and it's just like a shooting gallery at the dragonfly. I don't know. I ain't no freaking war hero, son. I ain't a general. I ain't read whatever it's called. I think it's like the story of war, the art of war. Okay, time passes. They continue to fight spice stuff. And here's another part of the mystery of stuff. Like Prophet, like, what should I do, Bardem? Go north. What would you do? Go north. So I'll go north. Okay. Like, if you were super prophetic and stuff like that, wouldn't you know what to? You'd be like, oh, we gotta do this and this and that, man. You're not asking for advice. Anyway, Tim's relationship with Zendaya, I just don't believe for a single second. I think it's just so forced. I don't believe it at all. It's a waste of time. Harkonnen Homeworld, and this is where the movie starts. And this is where the movie really starts. Okay, this is where the movie really started to take off for me, because we get introduced to Feed, and he is just dope as dope can get. Butler freaking crushes this role, dude. Butler just brings it home. And yes, he is super. He's a very attractive man. That only influenced my decision a small bit. But every time, every time Butler was on screen, dude, I just felt nervous. Like, I just felt, ooh, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? I mean, his freaking, his mannerisms, his dialect, his directness, his smile, that black teeth. Oh my gosh, yep, he is a good villain. He's a very good villain. And so even the Benjamin's Club, the Ben and Jarrett's, the Ben and Gesserit's Club. Okay, so the Ben and Jerry's Club, even like puts out his flaws, right? He's like, oh, he has mommy issues and intimacy issues, and he can be controlled through his rage. Even when they tell us that, I'm just like, oh, still though, dude, like he's a freaking crazy dude. He's very cool. He's a very cool bad guy. Like, he's right up there with Hans Landa. He's right up there with Hannibal, Hopkins, or Mikkelsen. Either or, dude. Like, he's a very good bad guy. So, then Butler comes in to decide to blow shit up, which eyebrow, right? Because, like, they replaced Butler. They replaced Batista with Butler because Batista couldn't get shit done. But then Butler comes in and just blows shit up. But it's like, Batista didn't think to blow shit up. It's like Batista, the guy screaming about how all the free men are rats. Like, that dude didn't think to just, like, should you fire the cannons now? Oh, we do. Oh, this is a bit this like. Oh, we don't want to fire the cannons just yet, laddie. We've got tea in the aft section of the ship. Well, if you're telling me there's tea in the aft section of the ship, then we best not get to using the cannons. We've got bottom lines to meet and tea to drink, you see. And so I don't know why Batista didn't try this. I feel like that's the number one thing. I feel like that's the very first thing he would have tried. I feel like he'd have tried to be smart, like right up the gate. He'd have been like, oh, I'm gonna outsmart them. And then as soon as they outsmarted him, he'd have been like, all right, let's blow everything up. Or maybe you can't. Maybe you can only blow up certain stuff. I don't know how the spice. I don't know how the environment works. I don't know anything.
Read the book, you muppet. Oi.
I know. Anyway. Okay, Tim goes south and declares angrily that he's the best. And this, for me, I already didn't like the character, like, leading up to this. I was just like, I don't like this character. I just don't like this character. I just don't like this character. I don't like this character. I don't like it. I don't like you. And so when he did this, I was just like, I like you even less now, dude. Like, I'm sorry, but if you come a-raging into my truth circle, right? And you're just like, I am better than all of you. I am your leader, as is foretold. I don't know about y'all, but my initial reaction would be to stand up and just be like, nah, you were just leaving. Ka-cha. Like, that's what I would do. And I know I'm kind of dumb when it comes to social media. I'm kind of like really dumb when it comes to social media. I don't even have like a Facebook or anything. I barely have a Facebook. But you can buy bikes on the Facebook marketplace. Some of the only places you can buy. But anyway, whatever petition that gets the cavalry going, I support this, and let's move that along. Hollywood, come on now, let's just do us a solid and get the cavalry in here. So the attacks on the Emperor are pretty epic. This is probably one of the most epic things like, dude, this movie does have parts of it that are literally just like some of the most epic stuff you'll ever see. Like, anytime a sandworm shows up, it's just ominous and it's just mystical and it's really cool. And when Timmy shows up to the Southlands to declare that he's better than everybody else, when he arrives on that big old worm and his cloak is blowing in the breeze and he's black against the white, the pretty much white background, like, it just looks absolutely wonderful. I tip the hat and shake the candy here, my lady, because it looks fantastic. It really does. But for me, after the battle with the worms attacking and all that stuff, like, the knife fight between a Butler and Chalamet just kind of felt a little off, but, you know, okay, whatever. It's kind of cool. It was kind of neat. It's not a bad movie at all, dude. It's really not a bad movie at all. Like, I'll be honest with you guys. Oh, these went on backwards. Shoot. Like, it's not a bad flick at all. Okay, it looked fantastic, dude. Everything flowed smoothly. I mean, it kept me entertained for 5 full hours. I love some characters, I hate others. It's a decent flick. Now, so does it belong up there with like Empire and 2001? Nah, dude, just no, just it doesn't. I mean, Empire was learning with Yoda. Who's daddy again? Ford saying his perfect solo response to I love you, raising the stakes to a grand and thematic level in a groundbreaking space opera that swept the nation, you know? 2001, it went right to the back of your head, and it set up shop there. And every now and again, you run into a guy named Dave, and you resist very hard not to tell him that I can't do that, Dave. But of course, you eventually do, and I mean, he doesn't get the joke because that movie came out like 50 years ago, and so now you have to sit there and watch his face make sense of your nonsense, and you just make the entire McDonald's lobby rather uncomfortable.